now many critics, and this is one guy, a grumpy old man. He's got a blog, and so he praised you, and what he said was the gist of what he said was you thoroughly review and analyze every film or every poetry. And he also mentioned the example of the Life of Pi book, which was written by some Brazilian guy. And so all the critics around the world, they're praising the originality, the story, the concept. And you said that it's plagiarized by this guy, the Brazilian guy, So it just, this example, is what I asked you last time also, is that isn't there just too much content? Like we are overwhelmed with a lot of novels and stories and films, and the real talent, like your plethora of things are getting buried. They are getting buried.
Yeah, and I tell my wife that time will salvage that there are things now known as cyber archaeologists, but there is too much. And this goes to the belief system that everyone is creative. Everyone has a story.
Oh yeah.
Everyone has a story, but most stories are dull. I can take it. I've lived, I would say, more interesting life than most. But even if let's say I had just been raised in privilege by a nanny and whatnot, I have enough imagination apparently and talent that I could still make my life interesting if I were to write about it. But this idea, I mentioned LeBron James, the basketball player, so you know who that is. My wife came up with this metaphor that people who say that everyone is creative would call me an athlete for walking down my driveway to get my mail from my mailbox, because walking is an exercise, and LeBron James as an athlete is exercise, but it's at a totally different level.
Oh yeah.
The 6 or 7 year old who writes a little 2 or 4 line rhyming poem is not a poet in the same category as I am. The kid who does little finger painting dabs or whatnot is not going to be in the same category as Johannes Vermeer, the painter, or Dali, Salvador Dali, or these great painters. But people want to believe that everyone is special. When we say people are equal here in the United States, technically, we mean people are equal under the eyes of the law. That would mean that if you and I supposedly went before a judge, if you were living in America, that we would both have the exact same opportunity to prove our innocence. Now, here in America, because you have darker skin and you have a funny sounding name, Rishikesh Jha, it's not, Joe Smith, you would more than likely suffer some kind of bias that I might not. Maybe not as much as a black person here, an African American, but you would be somewhere in between the African American person and me in terms of the chance that you would get actual justice. That's because people are bigoted. Judges are bigoted. Juries are bigoted. I even, for example, when I lived in a state called Minnesota for 12 years, because I still have a little bit of a New York accent, I experienced bigotry because people thought that I was going to act like Joe Pesci from Goodfellas, and just start a fight or whatnot, just because of my accent. These are biases, as far as we know, arose as shortcuts that if we heard rustling in the breeze, it might be a saber-toothed tiger or a bear or a pack of wolves that want to eat us. So run away. But now that we've gotten to the point where we don't have to worry about being, packs of dire wolves coming and ripping us to shreds, we have to learn that our biases are not particularly good things anymore. Yes, we should have been afraid. If I was the head of one clan of cave people and you were the head of another clan, and we both wanted to drink from the same stream or whatnot, and one of my people was pissing in the river, and your people were seeing his piss float by, you might not be happy. But we don't have to kill each other over it anymore. We can just come together and say, okay, Rishi and Dan, let's, on Mondays, your people use the river, the next day our people use the river, and so forth. This is how laws came into effect and whatnot. But a lot of people still, it's very easy to, ooh, he's got a strange name. Now, sometimes it works in reverse. Suppose there's a girl who's got a fetish, and ooh, Rishi Kat. I like, people have these weird kind of. I've had girls who like the way my eyeglasses look or something. But anyway, that's just human beings are biased, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I mean, I wouldn't even use the word bias. I would just say it's genetic or biology. Don't you think it happens in animals also, right? They have packs and they don't like they kick someone out if they touch,
Well, yeah, I think very,
biologically or genetically speaking.
but it's a failure of us not to use our brains to rise above
Oh
it.
yeah,
The thing is, my cats, if my cats, for example, are at the windowsill and they see a bird out there, my cats go, "Rrr," and you can see their lips going, "Rrr,"
yeah,
they want to get that
yeah,
bird. They don't have the rationale to say, maybe I should go get a snack or one, because they're not going to get the bird. They're not going to be able to go through the glass in the screen to get the bird, but they act simply on instinct. But I should, as an intelligent human being, be able to say, I'm not going to just, fall prey to my own worst tendencies.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it's strange, but like people are so similar. Like you said, you remove nationality or scale, like religion and all those things, and those are social constructs anyway.